What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another stream, and congratulations, Hamza, for. I think this is the last stream of the year, actually, because everybody's on holiday next week, so I don't think we'll be doing a live stream. But you managed to get the first comment on the last stream of the year, so I don't know. There's some kind of coveted award there. But yeah, we've got Alex and Andrew with us today, and then we've got our usual winter quiz, holiday quiz, Christmas quiz, whatever we want to call it. But yeah, before then, Alex or Andrew, do you guys want to give us a little bit of background info? I think most people actually know who both of you are already, but just in case we have some new people in the chat, do you want to say hello and tell them what you're all about?
Andrew, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah. Hey everyone. I'm Andrew. I'm maybe seen as the resident blue teamer here. I put together the SOC 101 course, the PSAA exam, that kind of thing, and working on a lot more new blue team related stuff that maybe we'll talk about later today. But I'm sure some of you guys remember me from some previous streams. So yeah. Hey everyone.
Nice. Yeah, you're definitely the main blue team guy here at TCM. If I ever have questions on, I don't know, anything EDR related or log related, I'm like, hey, how does this work? Why did my attack not work? Alex, you want to say hi to everyone?
Sure. I'm Alex. I am the CTO here at TCM Security. So I kind of work with technology to support the vision of TCM Security. So that means some of the tools that students use were built by us. Also, a lot of the internal tools that we use that help different departments do their job are built by us. So we kind of just try to support the company through use of technology. I also have a course on the TCM platform, which is the C# 101. And of course, I highly recommend it.
Of course. Is C# your favorite language, Alex?
C# is probably my favorite language, and probably only because I've been using it for like 20 years. I've kind of made a career out of working with Microsoft technologies and the Microsoft stack. There's definitely other languages that I appreciate and like, Java, Kotlin, Python. The one I don't really care for a great deal is JavaScript, if you can even consider that a language. I guess you have to.
I'm like the opposite. I don't know. Everybody knows that I have a weird thing about Java. I feel like Java has like a cult underground bunch of people who just don't really get on with it. But also JavaScript has the same as well. There's plenty of people who don't like JavaScript. If you had to start again from zero, given today's it's 2024 and you wanted to become a developer, what would you focus on? Well, let's say you've got like a mini Alex T that you're saying, hey, you need to learn this technology.
Sure. Yeah, I still think I would go the Microsoft way. And the reason why I say that is because like .NET and C# get refreshed every year. If you look at any other language out there, that's not the case. Like Python's in version 3, and how long has it been there? So yeah, things change, but they evolve a lot slower in these other languages.
I see.
And so it's something I mentioned in my course. I kind of contrast the different languages and where would I put C#, and it's really like a Tesla. It's kind of like, futuristic. It's got the winged doors and it's got the bells and whistles. And they listen to the developers. So a lot of the features that you get are because somebody asked for it. Plus, it's open source these days, so there's no reason not to try it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna throw out there though, we're now on Node version 22. So Node also gets updated a lot, but of course, like the JavaScript engines and stuff they have quite a long life cycle, which is good and bad. Good because things do get updated, but bad because obviously, I don't know, like not breaking the web is a weird thing to have to contend with, of course. So before we take a few questions though, so we've got a quiz coming up, but before we do that, Andrew Prince, what have you got coming up next year? Tell us about stuff that's happening in the blue team world.
Sure, yeah. It's gonna be pretty busy start to the new year. We have the SOC Level 1 live training coming up. Just adjusting my mic. We have the SOC Level 1 live training coming up in January. I think it's on the 21st, so like the last few weeks in January. It's going to be the 4-day live class that we're doing. It's going to be the first iteration of that, so I'm excited to bring that to the cohort and basically just cover a a very busy 4 days of SOC training and blue team related stuff. So I think that's going to be really exciting. We have a few seats left, I think. So if you are interested in that, feel free to check out the link. I'm sure it's going around in chat. But so I'm excited for that. And also on the side, or I guess the other priority, I'm working on the SOC 201, which is the course that a lot of people have been asking about, following up to SOC 101 and basically asking like where do they go next kind of thing in that roadmap. So I think it's going to be a really cool and really interesting course that I don't think you can really find anywhere else, at least in the way that I want to put it together. I've just been starting to work on that now. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to have a big incident response focus, big threat hunting focus, nice. Threat emulation. It's going to be pretty cool.
Will people be able to go straight from the 101 to the 201, or do you recommend like having some time in between?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to bridge the gap as best I can. It's really going to be a more advanced course, so it is going to be quite a noticeable step up from SOC 101. But my goal with SOC 101 is to basically introduce things like evidence sources and the basic methodologies and some basic tools that you can use to collect and analyze and sort of parse through different evidence sources. And in SOC 201, we're going to take that to the next level and basically say, like, what are some of the advanced attacks out there? How can we follow things like the MITRE ATT&CK and go, deep dive into some of those TTPs and actually find those in the logs? And how can we hunt for those? And how can we actually respond, during an incident when we come across these kind of things, and where can we look, that kind of thing. So there's going to be a lot of assumed knowledge directly from the SOC 101 course. But I think if you, do a good job going through that and understand the concepts, you'll be able to hop on that more advanced train pretty quickly.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Nice. All right, we have a couple of questions in the chat, so I'm going to throw these out. So today, I'm going to just give the questions to you guys, Alex and Andrew. And I think the first one we'll throw it out to you, Alex, which is, well, why do you think Java is, let's say not hated, but controversial? Do you have any opinions on this? And I think also, because you're a CTO, you probably actually have a much better broad view of technology than I do, because I'm very I like this technology and therefore I work with it. But you probably actually spend a lot more time weighing up what's the best technology for us to use as an organization, for example. So if you have any insights on this, that would be cool.
So the thing with Java is that, they've been stagnant for a very long time. But from a language perspective, if you go back all the way to the 90s, they were kind of like the first ones. There was no C#. There was C++, and then there was Java. And so you go back to all the people that abandoned C++ or switched from C++ to Java. Those are your diehards that still stick with it today. And there's just, in Java, there's some simplicity around object-oriented concepts that are, a bit more muddy in some of the other modern languages that are today. So if you want if you're learning programming and you want to understand object-oriented concepts the best, I think Java would be the best language for that, because they're very clear and very well documented, and how things work. And so for me personally, when I was going from Visual Basic to C#, some of those concepts were not, immediately clear. So Java helped me in that area quite a bit. And then my previous job, I worked for a company that was international. And so on the US front, everybody's .NET and, C# and SQL Server. But you go to Europe, like we had an office in Cologne, and there's no jobs for .NET or C#,
Yeah.
and everybody's using Java, and all organizations are looking for that open source thing. And I remember it was an architect job, and so one of my first missions was to pick a stack for the company, or for that that area that I worked for, and I had to basically put .NET against Java. And the one thing that came out of it is there are more security vulnerabilities in Java than there are in .NET. But the job force and how things look in Europe versus how things look in the US is so drastic that you can't really pick one and go with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's the same like when we talk about certs as well. You've got to pick the right one for your context. And that means whether you're working in government, whether you're working in the industry, in academia, depending on what country you're in, like the best path might not be the best path, if that makes sense. One path might make you very, very good at your job, but actually there might be less job opportunities for you depending on what you choose, which I don't know, makes giving career advice very difficult and controversial. And I can see, all right, I'm going to flash this one up. So Arubia says the pet tax is due, which is that Luna?
No, this is Bailey, who
Bailey.
I got a couple of months ago in Washington, D.C. And there's a long story behind that, but this is Bailey, who joined the family. She's wearing her pajamas.
Nice,
they're all wearing their pajamas today, and we're here in Vegas.
You have four dogs,
boiling.
Right?
I have four. Yeah,
four. Yeah, I have Poppy here as well, so I can pay a little bit of cat tax if I don't wake her up too much. Here she is. In that, she's just like chilling. So I feel bad for waking her up now, but she'll be okay. She'll settle down again. What about Prince? You have a cat, right?
Yeah, actually, we think she has an ear infection at the moment, so we actually have the vet coming here. We used to like try to get her in the car and bring her to the vet, but she's just not dealing with the car anymore. So turns out you can bring the vet right to your house. So
that's good. My cat also, Poppy in particular, she went in for surgery, and she's been back and forth a couple of times, but also for overnight trips. And so now, whenever anybody touches the cat carrier, she's gone.
Yeah,
she's like scrambling under the bed, and I have to trick her into it. So getting the vet to come to you is definitely good for their anxiety.
I'm trying to just leave the carrier out, just like on a daily basis, just like in the corner of the room or whatever. So it's not like I only bring it out when it's the worst day ever kind of thing. So
give them some treats in the carrier. That's That's a good trick. But if is it a she?
Yes, yeah.
If she's got an ear infection, let her chill. Let her sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let me scroll down and see what other excuse me, questions we have. Maybe one for let's throw this one to you, Andrew. The learning rabbit hole. So I don't know if you have any thoughts or opinions on, actually, because you used to work at like TryHackMe, right? So I think that you have a really good view of learning materials in the cybersecurity space, but you probably also have a view of like people who are studying a lot and doing a lot of stuff, but also maybe finding that hard to translate into real world skills. What do you think about this concept or the balance between learning and doing?
Yeah, it's probably one of the most important things. Like I know there's a lot of people, like even myself, like I have a bunch of courses that I'm going through at the moment, but I'm like trying to justify in my head, like, oh, I can do part of this course now and then like part of the other course this evening or something. You really need to like single task in some cases instead of trying to multitask a bunch of things at once, at least in my experience, because I find it's a lot harder to actually take something away, take meaningful information away from a course or a piece of training, whatever you're doing, if you have like so many other things on your mind. So like I think you can like what I'm basically trying to say is quality over quantity, I guess, because I know there's a lot of people that are trying to like take in everything at once, especially beginners. Like, it's like, oh, I need to learn this sort of side of the blue team, and then, but I also want to be a pen tester, so I should learn this as well. Like, you're naturally going to have overlaps as you learn more. So, like, it's less of a focus of trying to take in everything at once like a sponge, and really just trying to drill down what are the foundations, what are the fundamentals, and where can you go from there based on, most importantly, your interest. Because if you're just learning something because it's going to get you a specific job, but you don't actually want to do that job versus something you actually want to learn because you're enjoying it, you're going to have a lot better time. You're going to take a lot more away from that. In terms of balancing learning and doing, I always recommend practical oriented courses that you're not just watching a slideshow, you're not just watching videos, but you're actually setting up a lab, you're actually running tools and working with evidence sources or different files or whatever, based on the course, again, rather than just watching a bunch of videos and calling it a day and getting a certificate of completion. In my opinion, it's a lot better to take away actual projects from a course rather than just like a certificate that you completed it kind of thing. So I think TryHackMe does a good job at that. Obviously, you have these like learning rooms or paths where you're taking in the information, but you're also directly applying it afterwards in a lab. So that would be my advice in terms of going into that. Like, it's for as much learning as you do, also make sure you're also building things and breaking things, and because that's how you really get those takeaways.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for sure. I think I've been earlier on, I've definitely been like, oh, I need to learn these like 15 different things all at once, when actually I should have been more focused. But also, there's probably a balance in there somewhere where, like you say, working on projects and things is going to give you a lot of great learning experiences, but don't worry too much about like following everything to a T, which is,
Yeah, that's why I dislike the roadmap kind of questions, because it's like, I don't know where you are. I don't know how to answer this specifically for you. Like, there's not one roadmap. Like, if you like, I remember like when I was getting into the industry, like if you Google like cybersecurity certification roadmap or something, there's like a popular one that comes up. I think now it's like the amount of certifications on that list is just mind-boggling. I know it's not supposed to be a direct roadmap. It's more so just like a compilation of, all the routes you can take. But I think someone coming into the industry and super new to it is going to get extremely overwhelmed by seeing the amount of not only things to learn, but also like the cost associated and also the time. So really, like I always say, like just figure out what you like in the field, because there's a lot of different, streams you can go down, and, focus on what is the most practical and efficient way to get you there.
Yeah, I think it's for me, because I also do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's very similar in that if you don't enjoy the process and you only focus on progression, you're going to have a bad time as well. So if you only focus on certifications, you're going to have a bad time. So yeah, focusing on the process and, is going to take you a long way. Do stuff you enjoy. That's going to carry you much further than following a list that, I suggested, probably because I also put out like the roadmap to web app security. But I think like take it as like advice, but don't take it as you must do this. Like take it as like take it on and be like, okay, this is where I am. This is the advice. Mold it to what you think is best.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely room for guidance. Like, there are some pillars that you might want to aim for that are going to be pretty universal to most people. But at the same time, like as long as you're learning the information, there's multiple ways to do that kind of thing. Like there's no one single source of truth, and anyone who tells you you have to do something to get X, like they're probably just trying to sell you something at the end of the day. So
yeah, makes sense. All right, we do have a bunch more questions, but we're going to do the quiz, and then we're going to answer a bunch more of your questions. So I can see them all pinned. So if we didn't get to your question already, just note that Brit's doing a great job pinning them, because I can see all of them being pinned. So we will try and get to as many as we can. But let me share my screen. And there are prizes for winning. So if you don't have like an Academy subscription, you can win. And yeah, let me share this. Hold on. Let me go here. All right. So to join, you can either scan the QR code, like you can scan it with your phone. I don't think it's malware. It's probably not. It's we're using a service called Menti. It's probably fine. If you're using an up-to-date browser, you shouldn't need to worry too much about scanning links anyway. Or you can go to menti.com and use the join code 222146664. And yeah, I think so. First place prize is going to be like a 3-month subscription, and then second and third, the runners up will also win a month subscription as well. And I'm going to join as well just to make sure. I'm not going to actually compete because I know all of the answers because I wrote the quiz. But let me just make sure I can see everything on the device. What's important though is if you've joined on your phone, you can also join in your browser, by the way, but make sure you keep an eye on your phone because the stream is like probably 20 seconds behind real life. And so when I hit start on the quiz, that's gonna like, you're not gonna see me hitting start on the quiz on the stream for like another 20 seconds. And time is important. So if you want the most points, you need to be fast. And obviously, Alex and Andrew, you guys, I expect to see you both in the top 10 at least. Since Andrew, did you do a Halloween? We hit
did the Halloween one, stream?
Yeah,
and I did terrible.
But you've had practice. And Alex, I can't remember which. We've been on stream before, but I can't remember when it was.
Last year's Christmas.
Okay. So you both have had practice. So I'm just going to give it another 30 seconds to let people join. We can see 70, 73. It's still going up. Once it kind of like plateaus out for a few seconds, I'll get us going. But all good. And then while the questions are up, I don't know, I can try and distract everybody. Oh, we're almost on 90. All right. As soon as it hits 100, maybe 100 or 20 seconds, whichever comes first. All right. Looks like we're all good. Okay. I'm going to start it now. So don't forget to answer fast for more points. So the Krampus keylogger malware is named after a mythical Christmas creature. This is a warm-up question. What does the malware do? Not a trick question. So all right. So the key to this question, for those that didn't get it, is in the name. So it's called a keylogger, right? And so therefore it's gonna like record keystrokes. I've just realized our faces are like covering the answers, but you can see it on your device anyway. But the third answer, the third one is monitors network traffic, and the fourth one is provides remote access. But remote access is usually like rats or remote access Trojans. Monitoring network traffic is going to be like your spyware. Encrypts files is going to be your ransomware. And then, of course, keyloggers is going to be recording keystrokes. So warm-up question number 1 done. But don't worry if you didn't get it right. There's a mixture of like technical questions and hacker trivia. So we're all good. How do I go to the next one? Here we go. Question 2 of 8. Hopefully you're all ready to go. Oh, I can see 99 players ready. Let's go. Oh, what? Why is it not doing question 2? There we go. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened there. All right. So what is the name of the hacker who plots to steal the dinosaur DNA from Jurassic Park 1993? So make sure you get the right Jurassic Park film.
I'm surprised John Hammond wasn't an answer. It'd be very fitting.
Yeah, I should have put that on there, actually. Yeah, Dennis Nedry is the guy who steals the DNA and then gets eaten by the. If do you guys know what the dinosaur name is? The one with like the flaps on the neck. I can't remember what it is. I used to be a bit of a dinosaur
No.
nerd when I was young. Like most young kids, I liked dinosaurs.
I know the one you're talking about, but
Yeah. And Henry Wu is the geneticist, and then Alan Grant's obviously one of the protagonists, and then Ray Arnold is the security guy. What's his name? I can't remember the actor's name. He's in Marvel as well, and he's also a Jedi. Anyway, doesn't matter. All right, question 3. Let's go. I'm curious to know if you guys got the last one right as well.
Ooh,
which
good
flags
question.
are used in an Xmas scan? Are we talking about Nmap here, of course, for those that maybe aren't regular Nmap scanners?
Nice.
Yeah, so kind of split, but actually a lot of people got this. Nice. So Fin, Urge, and Push are the flags, and the whole thing is like you light up like a Christmas tree. At least that's what it says on the Nmap documentation. If you've ever read it, but yeah, some useful hacker knowledge there. Do you have a favorite port scan, Alex or Andrew?
No.
It's a weird question. I quite liked the zombie scan where you scan something and then you scan it again to see whether the sequence number has increased, to see whether your packet's been dropped or not, or something like this. I can't remember exactly how it works, but it's one of those classic attacks. All right, so far we're only 3 questions in, so this is an update. I was answering slowly. I don't know how I'm in 4th. I need to stop answering. So ignore me. But Saad Bakari, nice, in 1st place with the rabbit. Since you're the fastest, this is good. Mo Green, great job. Is this Divaka? Sorry if I'm butchering all of the names. Other Hiro Eru. Is this Hiro or is this Eru? Good to have you guys in the chat, of course. But Andrew, sitting there in the top 10.
Yeah. If you have more movie questions, that's not going to last very long. I'm going to be gone.
It's like 50-50. So,
yeah.
But it's good that, if you're good at the technical questions, then you're in the right job at least. All right. Question 4. All of the background images are Mid-Journey, by the way. All right, so which of these actors has not played the role of hacker during their career? So this is a tricky one, especially depending on what kind of films you like. It's, Oh, come on, guys. Hugh Jackman was in Swordfish. That's one of the most famous hacker films. He's gosh. Yeah. Yeah, it's Denzel Washington. He's never been a hacker as far as I know. Angelina Jolie in the classic Hackers film, which is 1995, I think. And Ben Whishaw, not sure how to say his name, is Q in James Bond, and he does loads of hacking, and then he plugs in the USB stick, and the whole network is breached because he plugs it in. So I don't know if you like James Bond, then I think he's a good Q in my opinion. Do you guys? So quick question to Alex and Andrew: favorite underground film that maybe not many people have watched? Doesn't have to be hacker related, but favorite quirky film. Let's go with that.
I don't know how underground it is, but I guess the original Evil Dead.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that.
It's
Definitely
old. It's
underground.
like 81, 82, somewhere there.
Nice. I have to add that to my to-do. What about you, Andrew?
I don't know if I have an underground film. I like basically anything Ryan Gosling is in, so I know like Drive is like the movie that everyone knows, but I prefer Place Beyond the Pines more. I just feel like it's a cooler movie. It has a much better twist in it, but
Okay, nice. I think my favorite film of all time is Lucky Number 11. If you've ever seen that, it's a really nice one. And yeah, it's got like Morgan Freeman in it, Lucy Liu, and a few other people. I forget the protagonists. Bruce Willis is in it as well. I forget the protagonist's name, but oh, whoops, just skipped a question. There we go. All right, question 5. In The Matrix Reloaded, if you were looking carefully, Trinity uses a real-world exploit to hack a power grid. Which service is being exploited? And you can see this on the screen if you look, if you pause the film and watch it. Nice, yeah. I'm not sure whether because it's the first option everybody picked it, but it is an SSH CVE that was used. I thought TeamViewer would get more votes because a nuclear power station would definitely be using TeamViewer. Why would
was it even popular when it came out? I don't know how old TeamViewer is.
Oh yeah, The Matrix Reloaded is quite old now, right? So yeah, you're probably right on that part. I don't think that deeply about these things. so yeah, nice. TeamViewer probably existed, but maybe they hadn't had like the whole wave of like TeamViewer is like the scammers #1 software kind of thing at the time, and it has a bunch of CVEs, of course. All right. What is the name of the Sans Winter Holiday Hacking Challenge? So if you're on Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever, you've probably seen this. It's always worth like looking at. So like TryHackMe has the Winter Challenge. Sans has it. Integrity have got a bunch of CTF challenges. Even if you don't participate, have a look at the write-ups once they're done, and you always find like interesting quirky exploits or bugs or interesting things. You'd be like, oh, I didn't know this library behaved in this way, or this thing existed. So reading CTF write-ups, I think, is actually an underrated way to get really like to build your technical skills, because it just gives you like some expansion on what's possible. And usually CTFs are, one, a lot of them are based on issues that somebody's found on a pen test, and two, they might be like behavioral based or like a quirky technology based. So learning more about how technology works is always good, and CTFs are a fun way to do that. All right, and it's KringleCon. Sorry, Sans. Not many people know. They need to level up their marketing, I think, for KringleCon.
Oh, everyone's saying they don't call it KringleCon anymore.
Are they? No way. They definitely do. I saw it on LinkedIn this morning. That's why it's a question in there. It's now just Holiday Hack. No, it's is it? I can see. I trust. Mary Ellen is somebody I trust. So okay, fair enough. Sorry if that's the case. That might have been because I made up the other answers. So that might have been like in the back of my mind, and why it's down there. But yeah, good job looking at the top scores so far. I think there's 2 more questions, so it's all to play for. But Saad Bakari, very, very fast on the answers. Good job. I'm looking up to see whether it's during the next question. I'm gonna check. That might be my mistake. Sorry if it is. Whoops. Question 7 of 8. Let's go. How are you getting on, Alex?
Not great.
That's okay. It's all good.
This one I
GoldenEye 1995? Okay.
Oh, and I picked the wrong one.
Oh, no.
And I know this one.
Oh, good job, everybody. Yeah. I am invincible. I mostly know this because I've seen it on like clips on YouTube. It's been a very long time since I watched GoldenEye. It's probably something I should rewatch at some point. But there we go. Yeah, the classics. All right, last question. Let's give everybody a second to prepare themselves. So the Creeper program, often regarded as the first virus, what year was it created? So you kind of have a choice between 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s. Yeah, good job. In the 70s. Long before I was born. I'm a late 80s child, but yeah, the 70s is nice. I'm actually curious to see what the source code for it, I'm sure, is kicking around somewhere on the internet, but I'm curious to see what it looks like. So, and if I recall, the Creeper, it was just like a worm, right? I think it just infected devices and left messages. It didn't really do anything like in terms of causing denial of service or keylogging or anything else. So that's it.
Yeah, I think there's a Try Hack Me room on a history of malware, and I think they might show what it looked like the source code. I'm not sure.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I have to check that out. That's pretty cool. It's nice to, I don't know, dive in and see. All right, so if you were in the top 3, screenshot your browser or your phone and send it to support@tcm-sec.com to claim your prize. And from start to finish, good job, Saad Bakari. That's really nice. 6,000 points is pretty good. And then we've got Colt in second place, and then Meow in third place. Whoops. So hold on, let me full screen my thing again. Okay, well, ignore my bad presenting. But yeah, Colt and Meow very close for third place. Look at this, like this is just time. Andrew, you almost got a free membership to TCM Academy. Other Hiro Eru, good job. Diwaka. Sorry if I'm butchering the name. Good job, Joseph. Good job, Jacob. Sujata, good job. Yeah, very nice. And that's our Christmas quiz. So hopefully you had fun and learned something new. All right, let's take a few more questions. And before we finish up for today, let me see what we've got pinned. Okay, so this is kind of like a nice career question. So Alex, I'm gonna throw this one to you. So if somebody's coming in new into the cybersecurity industry, but with a computer science background, what's your advice for hands-on experiences? And aside from CTFs, because I actually think there's a lot of hands-on experiences you can have that aren't just like pen test focused. What would you recommend in this kind of situation?
Yeah, so that's a good question. But it's cybersecurity is pretty broad. Like I came into cybersecurity from a computer science background, And I went more in the direction of governance and compliance, and like CISO type roles, rather than doing something such as ethical hacking. And I remember when I was working on my master's, the one course that I was so looking forward to was the CEH certification.
Yeah.
And that was my worst class, and like the worst experience. I took that thing 3 times. And to this day, I'm not great in that area because of that course, I think. So I think
Do you think that changed your path into the industry?
it might have. The thing that like networking and digging through routers and switches and understanding all of that, it never really appealed to me. So I'm not really a strong network guy. And because you have to have that networking background, it's not, to me, it's just less interesting. Like, because I write web applications, I'm very interested in the web hacking, but not necessarily network hacking.
Yeah.
And so
I
I
can
think for
sympathize with
everybody,
that. Like, I feel
yeah,
the same. Like, my networking is like, I do it, like, studied it because I had to, but I don't really
right.
enjoy it so much.
Yeah, exactly. I passed the Network Plus. I get the CIDR notation. I understand these basics, but I don't want to work in that area. So I think for everybody, it's a different path. If you're going into cybersecurity, the only thing I can suggest is try different things and see what you like. Like I said, for me, I kind of really appreciated the governance and compliance area, like the ability to kind of stand up an information security program for a company. To me, that's huge. And pen testing plays a role in that, but it's not the focus for me.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of needs to find their way within cybersecurity, because I'm sure there's people that want to be or will find SOC very interesting, and some people will find governance interesting. Some people will go down the path of architecting secure networks. So it's all very broad.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think even within the same roles, for example, you can have people who specialize in different things and have different interests. Even within, like, working with a bunch of AppSec engineers in previous roles, we all had our own, like, I don't know, like, interests in different areas. So even, like, from a high level, it's a very broad field. But even if you just take one role, that's still a really broad field, which is also quite interesting. But yeah, it's an interesting one as well, because I think a lot of people are like, okay, GRC is like non-technical, and then there's like technical roles like blue team and pen testing stuff. But actually, you yourself, very technical, but also doing GRC and like leadership stuff and understanding technology from a very strategic level, which is also really nice to see, because it's not clear cut. It's not you're technical or you're not. It's what you make of it, really, to be honest, at the end of the day. So very,
Yeah.
very cool. All right. I can see a message. So Saeed, congratulations. I didn't see your name in the chat, but good job. Don't forget, so support at tcm-sec.com. Send a screenshot into them to claim a prize. All right. I can see another good question. Just before we do that, though, shout out from Jose to Andrew Prince. People giving you love. I think you've probably seen a lot of it on social media already, but people love your course, which is
that's awesome.
Which is
Appreciate
awesome.
it.
So
Thank you.
So yeah, all good. Question from Const. So I'm gonna. What is the most important thing you've learned this dot? I'm going to say this year. I think maybe you've missed, you're typing too fast. Question for everyone, I suppose. So let's throw it out to both of you, but let's go Prince first. What's the most important thing you've learned in 2024? Difficult question.
Yeah, I think I was kind of alluding to it earlier when I was talking about single tasking versus multitasking. I've always been like someone who tries to be the most efficient and like tries to block out my time perfectly so I can like take on as many things as I can. I've found the most use this year in being able to really just focus on a single thing at a time and really give all of my attention to that thing to make it the best, because I'm also kind of a perfectionist, so it doesn't really it kind of counteracts each other sometimes. So being able to, I guess, kind of slow down in a way, but also just to only focus on a single task or a single project at once, and not trying to, put too much on my plate with, learning outside of work and, working on projects and stuff like that. Because I can do that, but I'll either burn out or those things won't be the best that they can be. So that's kind of maybe something more general that I've learned, is to sort of break things down more and focus on a single thing at a time and give it more attention.
Yeah, nice. What do you think, Alex? Most important thing, or maybe not just like thing that you've learned, but or maybe could be most important experience you've had in 2024?
Yeah. So for me, I think it's two things. Neither one are really truly technical either. So the first one is kind of, getting a foothold on this CTO role, because I'm a new CTO. So, kind of really feeling that I'm capable of doing it, and really getting the work under control was a big deal for me this year. I think I'm doing all right. We'll see what my review looks like. And then the other one is I had a coach early in the year, and she kind of like, you need to be more present. And I realized how disconnected I am from things every now and then. Like, even if you're eating something, you just kind of shovel it in your mouth and you're done. And what did you eat? And you probably don't even remember. So now I'm trying to be a little bit more present and consistent. I found that consistency seems to be a big deal. So just, if you're exercising and you say you're going to do it 5 days a week, you got to do it 5 days a week. It's like, it's not a, let's put it off till next week. So those I think are the big wins for me this year. Those are kind of the things I picked up and have stuck with me.
Yeah, nice. I think for me, kind of thinking about, like, you're just talking about consistency. For me, I try and build new habits, but I realized I wasn't very good at building new habits. So I can't remember where it was, but I was watching a video and it basically said you're allowed to skip a day, but you're never allowed to skip 2 days. And this is a really interesting one, because usually when you skip a day on a new habit, that's it, you're done, you miss a week. But if you force yourself never to skip 2 days, you actually kind of get like back on the bandwagon, and it kind of like saves your habit. And then once you reach like the 30 days, it becomes part of your life and whatever. I think we have some agreement in the background. And,
yeah, we do the same thing.
But I think that's it's a really good one, because if you're too hard on yourself when you miss a day, then you're done. And if you give yourself a bit of slack and then get back on the bandwagon the next day, then good things happen. I think that's something that has really helped me while I'm trying to develop new good habits. Especially since, I mean, working fully remote is great. It frees up a lot of time, but it also has some challenges as well. You have to be quite self-disciplined, I think, and you really have to think about, I don't know, how you structure your life and what you prioritize and things like this. So it's not as easy as it looks like on paper. So that's something that I've been really focusing on as well. Trying to leave the house at least once a day is really, really important too. That's definitely helped me. I think last year, my record was like 10 or 11 days and I didn't leave the house, and that's not good for your health, for sure. All right, we have a few more questions. So I don't think we'll manage to get all of them, but hopefully we'll get to most of them. Let me scroll down quickly and find this one. Oh, is cybersecurity entry level worth doing in 2025? I think yes is the answer to this question. if you really enjoy cybersecurity and it's where you want to be, do it. Don't do it for the money because competition is getting higher. And if you're just like, oh, it's shiny, so I want to do it. I don't know. If you're doing it for the money, you're in the wrong industry. Go like trade stocks or like be a go work in finance or whatever, and do the 80-hour weeks or something and get paid loads of money. But if you enjoy the work and you find it genuinely interesting and motivating, I think 100% there's still going to be loads of cybersecurity jobs. That's just my hot take on it. If you guys have any opinions on what's happening in entry level stuff in 2025.
I mean, I think overall the hiring managers and the companies that are hiring entry level jobs are kind of doing it wrong. They like I see it on LinkedIn all the time. It's an entry level position, but it requires like the CISSP.
Yeah.
It's so entry level is a little shady right now, I think.
Yeah, but I think the industry, like, there's always going to be jobs for people coming in, even if it's in a weird place. Yeah, I don't know. Actually, it's a good point.
There's definitely a lot of need.
It's gotten more difficult, I think, and it's easy for me to overlook that because once you've been in security for a long time, you remember the days where like you'd apply for a job with no security experience and you'd get the job because nobody applied for it, which is like when I started doing security 9 or 10 years ago. But I mean, the industry's not going anywhere. So I think that's like, if you want it, then, it's a viable career path. But I think also the blue team side, I mean, there's a lot more blue team jobs than there are pen testing jobs. So that's also something to think about.
I think it's just going to keep getting more competitive, which kind of hurts to say, but I think that's just the inevitable. Like what you were saying, like when I got my first security job, I didn't even have like Security Plus. Like I just had a hiring manager who like believed in me, I guess, kind of. So I kind of got lucky. Like similar to Heath, I think he was saying like he didn't really have certs at the time, but he was like made a promise, like I'm going to get these certs within 3 months or whatever. Like I'm really interested. So like I had my first manager in security, like he just knew I had the passion and the drive for it. So it's a lot harder, I think, for me to relate to what people are going through now trying to break in because it's genuinely just so much harder. There's so many more people. It's a much more attractive field than it was even just like half a decade ago. And so to be able to stand out, it's, the qualifications are going to keep getting more competitive because there's so many people trying to break in. So, whether it be certifications or education or, do you write a blog on the side kind of thing? Do you work on projects? So, it can be really overwhelming.
Yeah, I think definitely like it's getting harder to get in, but I think that the industry isn't getting smaller. So there's like two sides to it.
Yeah, and I think on the flip side too, like the entry level jobs are going to be the hardest ones to get. And I think there is kind of a shortage of skilled analysts, at least on the blue side, past that entry level point. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for someone to upskill once you have that initial foothold into your career. If you really have the passion and drive and you're, able to learn, more advanced things, there's going to be a lot of room for you to grow, and it's going to be a lot easier than getting that first job. It's just kind of a pain that getting in is the hard point. Yeah,
that makes sense. It's kind of like bug bounty. Like your first bug is kind of the hardest.
Yeah.
So if anybody here does bug bounty, but I think getting over that initial, jump is the most difficult, and then from there you're like, okay, it's not so bad, and you can keep going. All right, let's take one more question. I can see a bunch of others, but unfortunately we only have time for one more. But if you didn't get your question answered today, hopefully in a couple of weeks, once we're back in the new year, we'll be able to answer. Or I don't know, maybe tweet to TCM Security, and we'll hopefully be able to answer on social media as well, because our team, we're always pretty active and pretty good at answering questions. So it says Alex, but I'm going to throw this out to everybody here. I'm supposed to have an interview next month. They need all types of testing, including network, AppSec, GRC. But your confidence lacks where I have to explain end to end. Need some advice, tips, or topics for preparing for this. So just to kick off, I think if they need everything, then probably you don't need to go super deep. I would say make sure you know like the overall methodology. So like if somebody says to you, how do you conduct a external pen test? What do how do you start a web app pen test once you've got the the scope and you're starting to look at it? Have a look at start at the methodology stage and know that you know the difference between the different types of testing and the different stages of testing. And that's a really good place to start, because then when they start asking questions, you can be like, okay, I have this overall knowledge, and then you can go deeper on the areas that you do know. If the interview is going to be really broad, I think that's the best way to approach it from my perspective. But Alex or Andrew, if you guys have any insights into a company that wants a unicorn,
Yeah.
what do you think?
So I recently helped somebody prepare for the CISSP exam, and one of the things we found pretty useful is using ChatGPT. So one of the things you can do is create, prompt it to do a mock interview and give it the criteria that you have for that interview, and then see what kind of questions it's throwing out at you, how you respond to those questions, and then ask it for more detail around each and every topic. So you can go through those kinds of sessions a couple of times. You could do it with voice, you could do it by typing, and I think that will be helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a really good idea, actually. And also to kind of add to that, so what I used to do is if I was interviewing for a big company, Glassdoor has like interview questions and things like that. So you can also take those for one, but also again feed them back into ChatGPT and be like, these are the kinds of questions that we're asking. Can you explain some of the best answers, or can you give me more questions? It's a good way to because ChatGPT is trained on so much knowledge. Like if they're going to give you generic questions, ChatGPT is the questions that are going to come up, right? So, well, what do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, like one of my first interviews, like to prepare, I just Googled like what are the top security analyst interview questions, and I got asked like at least 2 or 3 of them. So I mean, you have like a month to prepare, so there's definitely that route. On the other side of it, there's probably going to be a chance that they're going to ask you something that you just don't know how to go into detail in. And I mean, that's fine. Like I would just suggest don't make stuff up on the spot unless you're confident you know what you're talking about, because a good hiring manager might be able to see through that and potentially ask you follow-up questions related to that and kind of stump you up more. So it's never a bad thing to say you don't know something, but that you'll figure it out, or you can follow up later after the interview and say, hey, we talked about this. I wasn't quite sure, but I've since done this amount of research and, come to this conclusion kind of thing. So, the interview doesn't stop when the, I guess, interview actually ends, right? So there's more that you can do. There's more, on that side of it as well. But again, if they're looking for a unicorn, as it kind of seems here, I would just go through the resume. And again, you could throw up the resume the job posting. You can throw that up to ChatGPT and say, hey, generate me some interview questions related to these topics. But I mean, that would be my advice.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then reinforce the ones that you get wrong as well when that happens, and make sure you read up. Work with bullet points, because then you're not memorizing blocks of text, and try and memorize ideas rather than like long explanations. And then that's a good way to go. All right, so I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much, Alex and Andrew, for joining us. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody. I don't think we'll be streaming next week because, like I said, I think everybody's taking a little bit of time off to, spend a holiday with their family, which they definitely should do. But we'll catch you all in 2025. Congrats to those who won the quiz. And yeah, catch you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.